Hello friends and viewers. In this video, I perform a trinket analysis on how to optimize the Origin Hourglass trinket. Starting off with the basics, Origin Hourglass is a legendary trinket with 4 components. This trinket increases physical attack, increases magic attack, immunizes movement debuffs, and immunizes speed debuffs. It is one of 3 trinkets that directly increases attack, and one of 2 trinkets that directly increases magic attack. Because of the physical attack and magic attack increases alone, it is a flexible, passive stat stick useful for any character to increase throughput. This is probably how many players use this trinket already, but we can more closely examine how to utilize each component to full effect. First, let's review our understanding of attack. Origin Hourglass increases both physical and magic attack. Attack always increases damage, and for some characters, have additional contributions. For example, attack sometimes increases healing, which is not always obvious. Attack sometimes increases piercing damage, which is also not always obvious. Few characters scale with both physical attack and magic attack, but they do exist. To optimize Origin Hourglass's attack properties further beyond just damage, we look at characters who scale with both attack types, or characters who scale with attack for additional healing, mitigation, or piercing damage in their skill kits. August and Alexei are 2 characters who have abilities that scale with both attack types. Both primarily use physical attack, but August's Sword of Wrath trait and Hassle skill scale with magic attack. Alexei's Wild Howl skill does piercing damage, scaling with his magic attack as well. As mentioned, some characters use attack to scale with their healing, piercing damage, and even physical defense. For example, Breakers have Draconic Flash Step and/or Parry, which adds their physical attack to their physical defense. Characters with healing abilities, some examples Watchers, Homa, and Dentalion, increase healing based off physical attack or magic attack, whatever their main attack type is. This is fairly common sense for RPGs, but there are a few characters in Sword of Convallaria whose healing throughput does scale with other stats. Karis's and Lash's piercing damage scale with their magic attack. Not all piercing damage in Sword of Convallaria scale with the attack stat. Simona's Armor of Ice skill and Darklight Ice Priest Icy Shield skill scale with their magic attack. Physical shields ordinarily scale with HP. With these examples in mind, we recognize that, for some characters, attack does more than just increase damage. Attack can sometimes increase utility and support skills and other forms of damage. Next, let's look at how we understand movement. Origin Hourglass grants immunity to movement debuffs. The typical move for a character in Sword of Convallaria is 3 tiles. Immunizing movement debuffs is a counter to ice-based units and frosty tiles. Immunizing movement debuffs can benefit any character, but to optimize this benefit further, we look at characters who have innate movement increases or movement buffs in their trait and skill kits. There are also characters where movement is part of their damage rotation. If characters with above average movement have movement debuffs, then they temporarily lose a unique part of their character kit. All Seekers, except Hasna, have a baseline move of 5 tiles. Many Seekers also have skills that provide move buffs to themselves. This is an above average move count compared to most of the Sword of Convallaria roster. Leonide, Knighted Pikeman, and Lightning are examples where, per their trait or a skill, they have more throughput based on tiles moved, so movement is part of their damage rotation. Some units like Homa and Enforcer have additional movement directly included in their trait. Additionally, any characters using the Sword and Wand engraving resonance means movement becomes part of their damage rotation. Movement debuffs thus decreases their throughput. Movement debuffs minimize a defining characteristic of Seekers, and movement debuffs can impact the throughput of other characters. As such, these units have more at stake compared to other units that just have a baseline move of 3 tiles. Next, we look at how we understand speed. The more speed a character has, then the more speed debuffs impact their intended purpose or identity. The less speed a character has, then the less they are affected by speed debuffs. Xavier, with specifically the Spear of Iria skill, has the highest speed whenever active. This skill is a unique part of his character identity, so any speed debuffs will minimize that. Ice-based Watchers, such as Simona and Papal Ice Priest, and Abyss, a debuff destroyer, are the next highest speed units in the game with 270 or higher speed. Part of their character identities is to debuff early and quickly in a round for their allies to capitalize on. After the above, turn order based on speed flow approximately like this: Defenders, Melee Watchers, Breakers, Melee Destroyers, Seekers, Ranged Destroyers, and Ranged Watchers. In the video description, I have a link to a Google Sheet where I identify skills for each character that have secondary attack effects, have movement modifiers, or have speed modifiers. Please consider taking a look. To summarize my findings, if you want to optimize both physical attack and magic attack from Origin Hourglass, consider it on August or Alexei. If you want to leverage the attack increases for more than just damage, consider Watcher Healers or Breakers and Defenders who have skills that convert attack to defense. If you want to use the movement debuff immunity to protect a character's throughput, consider Seekers, Leonide or Knighted Pikemen, or any character using the Sword and Wand Engraving Resonance. If you want to use a speed debuff immunity to protect the character's intended utilities, consider prioritizing Xavier, Ice-based Watchers, or for a particular class, starting at the top with Defenders and Breakers. Are there any characters that scale with both physical attack and magic attack and have above average movement and have above average speed? No, there isn't. There are no characters in the game to truly optimize the full package of Origin Hourglass. Additionally, just because a character scales with both physical attack and magic attack, it does not mean Origin Hourglass is their best throughput trinket. However, it may make you feel less bad about wasting the trinket's properties. To share some of my own candid thoughts, like probably many of you, I use Origin Hourglass as an attack stat stick trinket, especially when I don't have the Flying Blade Arm Guards and Roaring Flints to go around. Still, the attack gains have the benefit of being non-conditional compared to, say, Maverick's Cloak and True Lens, so it is easy to use. But remember, the movement and speed debuff immunities are valuable only when movement and speed debuffs are actually present on a map. If not, then most of the time, Origin Hourglass only provides a singular physical or magic attack benefit. Truthfully, I don't actually think Origin Hourglass is a well-designed trinket. There are currently few PvE situations where either immunity is valuable, and even for the two units that benefit from both physical attack and magic attack, it is not the strongest item for them. That concludes my findings for this video. If there are any details I overlooked, or if there is anything you disagree with, please let me know. Thank you so much for watching.